Good morning, everyone. I am Itzlin Sibalo. We are the Group 12 who will discuss about issues and controversies in Philippine history. There are 5 issues and controversies that we will discuss today. First is the site of the first Mass, o Misa sa Pilipinas, which is the Catholic Mass. Saan ba daw una siya ginawa? Sa Massaw in Butuan or Limasawa in Southern Leyte? So recently nagkaroon kasing parang pagtatalo kung saan ba talaga naganap ang unang misa. It is in Massaw ba sa Butuan or Limasawa in Southern Leyte. Pero recently nag-decide na ang National Historical Commission of the Philippines or NHCP na according to their research, it is Limasawa. Pero hanggang ngayon, pinagtatalunan pa ng mga historians. According to Pigafetta o Antonio Pigafetta, the Italian scholar, the site of the first Mass was on the island of Massawa. Sa chronicles ni Pigafetta, ang unang misa daw ay naganap sa Massawa. Easter Sunday, 31st of March 1521, two native chieftains were in attendance, Raha of Massawa and Raha of Butuan. So, ang Butuan ay nasa Surigao del Norte. Medyo nasa magkalapit na din naman, parang nasa isang side lang na Pilipinas, nasa eastward pero magkaibang probinsya. Ang Massaw ay nasa Mindanao, ang Limasawa ay nasa Visayas. So kung nasa Limasawa daw siya in Southern Leyte, paano daw makarating yung raha ng Butuan? After the Mass, a wooden cross was planted on the hill upon its summit. So meron daw cross na itinatayo doon sa burol o sa tuktok ng isang burol after ng Mass. Massaw, the Butuan tradition. Butuan claim rests upon a tradition that was almost unanimous and unbroken for 3 centuries, namely the 17th, 18th, and the 19th century. The date given in the first Mass was April 8, 1521. A monument was erected in 1872 as to strengthen the tradition. So, yun yung una na ang Butuan tradition na kiniklaim talaga ng mga taga-Butuan na sa kanila nangyari ang kauna-unahang misa sa Pilipinas. To the immortal Magellan, the people of Butuan with their parish priest and the Spaniards resident therein to commemorate his arrival and the celebration of the first Mass on this site on the 8th of April 1521, erected in 1872 under the district governor Jose Maria Carvalho. Ito yung unang discrepancy. Ang paniniwala mula noong 1521, ang first Mass ay naganap noong April 1521. Pero later on, it was found out that it happened, according to Pigafetta's account or chronicles, it happened on March 31, 1521. In 17th century, Father Francisco Colin, Society of Jesus Labor Evangelica, on Easter Day in the territory of Butuan, the first Mass ever offered in these parts was celebrated and a cross planted. So, yung mga nag-research about sa first Mass. According naman kay Father Francisco Combes, Society of Jesus, Historia de Mindanao Iholo, Magellan landed at Butuan and there planted a cross in a solemn ceremony. Ito yung mga mga arguments at mga supporting documents and primary source na nagsasabi na ang first Mass ay naganap sa Butuan in Massaw. Comparison of both accounts, Colin and Combes. On 18th century, one passage in Colin which seems to have been misunderstood and misled some later writers. Fray Juan de la Concepcion, one of the major historians who made the error related to Colin. So, yun nga, dahil Massaw, akala nila it's in Limasawa and not in Massaw in Butuan. On 19th century, Fray Joaquin Martinez de Zuniga, Historia de Filipinas, the Butuan tradition was taken for granted since misstatements in the passages are numerous if compared to the account of Pigafetta. So, ang talagang pinaka-authority dapat si Pigafetta. Pero dahil nga yung ibang mga later historians, nagkaroon sila ng error, misconception, misstatements, so naituro nila na ang first Mass ay sa Massaw in Butuan. Shift of opinion from Massaw to Limasawa. So, ito na ang introduction ng Limasawa. Emma Blair and James Alexander Robertson, Father Pablo Pastillas is, the rediscovery of Pigafetta's account and Albus logbook are the reasons of the shift of opinion. 1900s ang paniniwala na Masaw kasi nga yung mga early historians pointed it in Masaw, pero nung lumabas na ang account ni Pigafetta, yung kanyang chronicles, na naituro na hindi pala sa Masaw, it's in Limasawa in Southern Leyte. So gumawa din ng research sina Trinidad Pardo de Travera and Jaime de Vera. Here's the Limasawa evidences. First, the evidence of Pigafetta. Pigafetta's testimony regarding the route, yung pinakadinaanan kanyang dinescribe. Second, the evidence of Pigafetta's map. Meron ding map na dinescribe si Pigafetta. The two native king, the 7 days at Mazawa, an argument from omission. Ferdinand Magellan anchored off the eastern shore of a small island called Masawa. There they stayed awake, during which on Easter Sunday, the celebrated Mass and planted a cross on the summit of the highest hill. Ito yung isa sa mga authority na evidence. Mabigat at mahirap ikasinungalingan o i-define. Siyempre yung evidence coming from Pigafetta na talagang siya yung primary source na nandoon na naganap. Malamang siya pa nga yung nagmisa. The island of Masawa lies at a latitude of 9 2/3 degrees north. It is located on the south of Leyte, and its latitude of the island of Limasawa, whose southern top lies at 9 degrees and 54 minutes north. Yang minutes na yan yung calculation ng layo ng Mazawa or ng Limasawa from the equators. So, yun yung ginagamit. Siyempre, may mga panukat noon sila Magellan sa paglalakbay. Yun yung ginamit nila to determine yung pinakalugar, yung absolute na location ng Limasawa. No point in that itinerary did the expedition of Magellan go to Butuan. So, napakalayo nga, parang hindi ganun kabilis makakarating na Mactan sila Lapu-Lapu from Butuan kung nasa Butuan sila. The survivors of the expedition did go to Mindanao later, but after Magellan's death. Pero yung description kasi ni Pigafetta before Magellan's death. Pilots of the Legazpi expedition understood that Mazawa was an island near Leyte and Panawan. Butuan was on the island of Mindanao. So siguro yung name kaya nga from Masawa din Limasawa, yun lang siguro yung naging reason kung bakit nagkaroon ng pagkakamali in distinguishing the exact place on where the first Mass in Philippines takes place. The two were different places and in no wise identical. The most complete and reliable account of the Magellan expedition into Philippine shores in 1521 is that of Antonio Pigafetta, which is deemed as the only credible primary source of reports on the celebration of the first Christian Mass on Philippine soil. Siyempre, siya yung tao nandun o siya mismo ang nandun sa pangyayari kaya hindi mapasinungalingan yung credibility na ginawang accounts ni Pigafetta. James Robertson's English translation of the original Italian manuscript of Pigafetta's account is most reliable for being faithful to the original text as duly certified by the University of the Philippines Department of European Language. Pigafetta's Masawa, the site of the first Christian Mass on Philippine soil, is an island lying off the southwestern tip of Leyte. Originally, yung account ni Pigafetta was written in Italian. So, si James Robertson's baka daw sa pagta-translate sa English mayroong konting problema. Kaya nagkamali ng pagtatala ng exact location ng first Mass. Sabi ng UP Department of European Language, hindi kasi tama yung pagta-translate. Very faithful din kay maaring hindi naman din talaga nagkamali yung translation. At kung hindi nagkamali yung translation, hindi magkamali sa paglokit ng lugar kung saan naganap ang first Mass. So, yun nga, bakit ba pinagtatalunan yung first Mass? Siyempre, that is a primary source. Siyempre, kung may mali doon sa primary source kay Pigafetta, when it comes to translation, maaari bang may iba ding nagawa, so dapat ay itama. Second, is pride of the town So, pride ito ng Limasawa in Leyte at saka pride ng Butuan, Masaw in Butuan, na sa amin ginanap ang first Mass. Kaya siyempre, nagtatalo ang Butuan at saka ang Limasawa ng Leyte. Saan ba talaga naganap yung unang misa? Siyempre, yung mga pride ng mga tao, siyempre sa amin kasi. According nga kay Pigafetta sa amin. At ano naman ang taga-Butuan? Hindi. Sa amin kasi matagal na paniniwala, date back on 17th, 18th, and the 19th century, sa amin naganap ang ang first Mass, which is in return, napasinungalingan yung credibility na ginawang accounts ni Pigafetta na ang misa pala ay hindi pala sa Masao in Butuan. Although nakapagtayo na ng mga rebulto doon sa Masao, doon sa place kung saan naganap yung first mass, we must correct kung anong naganap sa kasaysayan. Hindi ito distortion na parang minamali natin yung kasaysayan. Hindi. Tinatama natin yung maling perception before sa kasaysayan kasi nobody's perfect din naman. Maganda siyang pag-aralan kasi nga yung location as described sa account ni Pigafetta, makikita natin na ito pala ang nangyayari between the first mass up to the death of Magellan. Kung ano pa yung nangyayari, kumbaga nagkakaroon na tayo ng overview kung ano yung nangyari ng panahon nila Magellan ng paglalakbay nila, gaano kahalaga yun sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas. Kasi identity natin yan Tayo ang pinag-usapan. Hindi pwedeng tayo ay magkamali. Kung may pagkakamali man, dapat yun ay may tama. At napakahirap na ituturo natin siya lalo sa mga bata, tas mali-mali naman pala. Anyway, it was already a given na dignity ng National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Tinapos na lang yung debate. Sabi nila, based nga sa credible source na chronicles ni Pigafetta o Antonio Pigafetta, ang first mass ay naganap hindi sa Masao in Butuan, but in Limasawa in Southern Leyte. Hindi na yata Limasawa ang name niya ngayon. So I hope you learned something.
Cavite Mutiny 1872. 140 years ago, on January 20, 1872, about 200 Filipino military personnel of Fort San Felipe Arsenal in Cavite, Philippines staged a mutiny which in a way led to the Philippine Revolution in 1896. The Cavite Mutiny was precipitated by the removal of long-standing personal benefits to the workers such as for tribute and forced labor exemptions on order from General Rafael D. Izquierdo. Izquierdo replaced Governor General Carlos Mama de la Torre some months before 1871 and immediately rescinded Torres' liberal measure and imposed his iron first rule. He was opposed to any hint of reformist or nationalistic movements in Philippines. He was in office for less than 2 years, but he will remembered for his cruelty to the Filipinos and the barbaric execution of the 3 martyrs blamed for the mutiny. Fathers Mariano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora later collectively called Gumborja. The mutineers were led by Sergeant Fernando La Madrid. They seized the fort and killed the Spanish officers. Fearing a general uprising, the Spanish movement in Manila sent a regiment under General Felipe Hinojosa to recover the fort. The besieged mutiny was killed and many mutineers, including Sergeant La Madrid, were killed. Later, others were sentenced to death or hard labor. Izquierdo used the mutiny to implicate Gumborja and other notable Filipinos known for their liberal learnings. Prominent Filipinos such as press professionals and businessmen were arrested on diplomacy and Trump up changes and sentenced to prison, death or exile. These include Joaquin Pardo de Tavera, Jose Basa, and Antonio M. Regidor. It was said that the Cavite motorists got their cue from Manila when they saw and heard fireworks across the Manila Bay, which was really a celebration of the feast of the of Loreto in Sampaloc.
My topic is all about retraction of Rizal. So, when we talk about retraction, ito yung pagbawi, paghingi ng tawad at paghingi ng permiso sa simbahang Katoliko na namamatay siya bilang Katoliko. Jose Rizal is identified as a hero of the revolution. For these writings that center on ending colonialism and liberating Filipino minds to contribute to creating the Filipino. We have to know that he did not write against the Catholic Church or the Catholic religion, but the point of his writing are those who are abusing us, and those are the friars, who instead perceive spirituality, are still being abused. So, kung titingnan natin, Jose Rizal is a symbol of Filipino nationalism and sacrifices left a big controversial issues with regards to the event before his death. The great volume of Rizal's life works was committed to this end, particularly the more influential ones, No Limitang Hiri and El Filibustrismo. It is easily vilified not the Catholic religion, but the friars the main agents of injustice in the Philippine society. So, yan ang pinakamagaling niyang obra tong No Limitang Hri at El Filibustrismo. At kung pag-aralan natin, hihimayin natin yung mga nakasulat sa No Limitang Hri at talagang makikita natin yung kaisipan ng ating pamansang bayani na gusto niya talagang matuldukan or ma-expose sa mga obrang yan sa pag-abuso at marami tayong matutunan sa mga likha, sa mga sulat, sa mga obra ng ating pamansang bayani. What was the retraction about? The letter dated December 9, 1896 was said to have been signed by the national hero himself. Rizal retracted because the church would not allow his marriage to Josephine Bracken unless he retracted his Masonic affiliation. So, kung kinasal si Rizal sa kanyang asawa na si Josephine Bracken, nag-retract si Rizal kasi hindi siya papayagang ikasal kung hindi siya nag-retract. Kung hindi totoo yung retraction at hindi binawi ni Rizal ang kanyang sinasabi, hindi siya ikasal kay Josephine Bracken. Again, kung hindi nag-retract si Rizal, hindi siya ikinasal kay Josephine Bracken. Nag-retract siya dahil nga yung kanyang retraction ay parang requirements para ikasal sila sa Catholic Church ni Josephine Bracken. Ibig sabihin, kinasal siya at nag-retract si Rizal. Main issues during concerning the retraction. So, Rizal retract his Masonic affiliation. Rizal wrote and signed the retraction. Rizal marriage to Josephine Bracken. So, those are the three main issues of concerning during the Rizal retraction. Conclusion. If Rizal retracted, he would not have been executed, but he was executed. Therefore, Rizal did not retract. He would have been an example of the cause of friars. He would not have been given a decent Christian burial, not buried like a dead dog outside in the Paco cemetery. So, those are the conclusion of Rizal's retraction.
So my topic is all about historical revisionism or historical distortion. Historical revisionism was born as a child of politics, but it can be helpful if its purpose is academic. History is undoubtedly one of the most fascinating social sciences. It helps us understand what has happened in the past and how the occurrences have shaped the world we know. In the previous article, we have discussed the difference between history and historiography. The former is a collection and documentation of important events that comprise a shared past. Historiography is the study of how the documentation of history is. So, ang kasaysayan ay walang alinlangan na isa sa mga pinakaakit-akit na aghang palipunan. Tinutulungan tayo nitong maunawaan kung anong nangyari sa nakaraan at kung paano hinubog ng mga pangyari ang mundong alam natin. Ang una ay koleksyon at dokumentasyon ng mahalagang kaganapan na binubuo ng isang pinagsamang nakaraan. Ang historiografiya ay ang pag-aaral kung paano isinagawa ang dokumentasyon ng kasaysayan. Why look at the past with the eyes of the present? As the name implies, historical revisionism consists of the revisiting the source of historical record or period, with a different perspective or new data that could alter how we see it. The issue of revisiting history has both positive and negative aspects. Cases such as that of Rosalinda Franklin work was instrumental in discovering the DNA chain would not been known at the scale there haven't been an intention to examine a story already told and solidified in the collective memory. Gaya ng pinapahiwatig ng pangalan ng historical na revisionismo ay binubuo ng muling pagbisita sa mga pinagmulan ng isang makasaysayang tala o panahon na may ibang pananaw o bagong data nang maaring magbago sa kung paano natin ito nakikita. Ang itong paraan ng muling pagbisita sa kasaysayan ay may parehong positibo at negatibong aspekto. Ang mga kaso tulad ng Rosalinda Franklin na ang trabaho ay nakatulong sa pagtuklas ng DNA chain ay hindi malalaman sa sukat na ginawa nito kung walang intensyon na muling suriin ang isang kwento na sinabi at pinatibay sa kolektibong memorya. Other positive application of historical revisionism are rescuing visions and
ancient societies completely. For example, the Vikings were recently discovering to have been multi-ethnic, not exclusively Scandinavian, and having very progressive ideas about gender and sexuality. The critical point about fostering historical revisionism as something positive is when its purpose is to complete the information about some event or period or reveal hidden but true knowledge about it. The problem with this approach is that it's not always used for these purposes. Mga positibong aplikasyon ng historical na revisionismo ang ganap na nagliligtas sa mga pagitan ng mga sinaunang lipunang halimbawa. Natuklasan kamakailan ng mga Viking na multi-etniko, hindi isa eksklusibong Scandinavian at may progresibong ideya tungkol sa kasurian at
Good morning, everyone. My name is Josephine A.P. Pito. Our conclusion about issues and controversies in Philippine history. Discussing controversial issues helps students with different backgrounds and lifestyle to learn to live and work together peacefully and respectfully. It encourages them to listen to each other and talk through their differences sensitively. The goal of issues and controversies in history is to present history as a dynamic process of controversies, conflicts, and issues that people debated and experienced and ultimately made choices about.